So welcome everybody to our wonderful series. As part of the Sustainable Youth series, we have decided to do an after dinner hour instead of our usual afternoon hour with Jackie, our sustainability, I would call you our consultant here at the library. She's always making the library more greener, better, more user-friendly, and more environmentally friendly. So for that, I want to thank Jackie. And she has brought a wonderful concept to our library, and it's going to be happening later on next month. And tonight's Zoom is all about introducing you to how to make the most out of what we got. Because, you know, we've got limited resources and we've got a limited planet and we want to make the best of it. So I want to thank Jackie for her expertise and her time. I want to thank all of you for showing up and for caring. And I want to thank Friends of Crestwood Library, who are major supporters of sustainable solutions in our community. So Jackie, it's all yours.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. So today I'm talking about Repair Cafe, or what's known as the Repair Revolution. And before I start the slides, I just wanted to let everybody know that it has to do, it's a portion of sustainability that involves fixing our stuff. So I am going to share my screen and start the presentation. It is a very good concept, and I would advise you to continue this by showing up at our Repair Cafe. So I did this to introduce what we're going to do April 27th, which is why it's in the corner over there on the front page 1. It will be in person. And it's a way to fix our household items, our products that we purchase that break. So for this particular Repair Cafe, because we are going to do it again, this won't be the first time. It's not a one-off. And my hope is that we can be the first in Yonkers to have a Repair Cafe group. Because they have them in the Hudson Valley and they have them out in Long Island through a sustainable initiative. So what it involves is simple repairs on our particular, what we're going to do April 27th, clothes, some appliances, bikes, game controllers, potentially, and jewelry. So let's talk about it. Before I begin, anybody have anything they want to say, or? All right, I'm going to start. So what happens to our stuff when it breaks? Okay, we either pay to have it fixed, which can run from relatively inexpensive to wildly expensive. How many of you, and think in your head, how many of you have broken a large appliance and they tell you, well, the fix is going to be $300, $400. You might as well just get a new one. And you end up paying double for that anyway. And they say, oh, no, you know, we're going to recycle all the pieces, or we're going to, because if you don't pay to have it fixed, that's what happens. I hope the orientation of my pointing is the same as the guy there. So it ends up in the dump. That's where our stuff goes. And it doesn't get recycled, and it doesn't break down, hardly at all. If you throw out something that is all metal, the only hope is it'll rust, or people will come by. Things that get dumped in the dump and they're metal usually get picked up by collectors who salvage the parts. The best thing to do is to bring it, to have it salvaged. But, right, washers, a Nespresso machine, very fancy, Phil, Nespresso. Yeah, I have the Mr. Coffee. I use it a little bit. I don't overdo, but it's going to end up in the dump. So planned obsolescence, which is the title of that was on the calendar. it's a business practice by manufacturers, and it's a pretty bad business practice, but it makes them tons of money. It's products that are designed to break quickly or become, they go out of date and you can't get the parts for it. And it ensures that the manufacturers will keep making more money. And it contributes to the excess of waste that ends up in landfills. Because when the item, you can't use it anymore, like I said, unless you have, how many of us will take the time to have a tag sale? In order to be more environmentally friendly, I've had at least 10 tag sales in my life. The other thing to do is Vietnam vets, they take almost everything. Not furniture, but they will take every book you can give them, clothes, sneakers, and they tell you that we'll go through it and we'll dump them. Again, what we tried to do was to use Got Sneakers, which took all manners of sneakers, old, new, barely used, and we filled 2 bags, I believe. And I did the same thing with 4 days, which was a clothing bag, and you send it back and to this group 4 days, and they take your old clothes, gently used clothes. If they're horribly used, they refashion it, they rip it to shreds, I believe. So that's one way we can fight it, right? But let's get into this idea of where did I get this phrase, planned obsolescence? It's a very fancy phrase. And so I want to mention the Phoebus cartel. So I'm going to give you a little history. I'm going to talk about that history. So wait till you watch this. What secret meeting took place in 1924 with the Phoebus cartel? And who were the members of the Phoebus cartel? I'll give you a free soap if you can tell me what the Phoebus cartel is. Free soap. Okay, I'm going to tell you. So there were a group of engineers and manufacturers from famous companies back in 1924 who deliberately, this is what gets me, deliberately got together to plan to shorten the lifespan of the light bulb, okay? The 2 men at the top were really William Meinhardt from Osram. He was an electrical engineer. All of these people were electrical engineers. Take a look at the pictures. Take a look through the list of the engineers there. Associated Electrical Industries in the UK, International General Electric, a group in France. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. That's for Z to do. And then overseas groups, and I give you the list to the right. And then Tokyo Electric. And they decided, well, wow, we need to make more money. So let's plan on shortening the lifespan of a light bulb from 2,500 hours to, anybody? 1,000 hours. This event was known as the light bulb conspiracy. Yes, that is Scully and, X-Files. But it was a famous conspiracy, but it's still continuing. Had anybody heard of this? Because I didn't. And before I took a course in libraries and sustainability with Rebecca Aldrich Smith, I had no clue. This came up in my course, and I just felt that it was important to share it with all of you, because how many times, maybe 10 years ago, maybe more, we all had incandescent bulbs. But before we went to LEDs, we had incandescent bulbs that had the filaments in them. So what happened? Back then, they had a bulb that could last for 2,000, 2,500 hours, right? Do you know today there is a bulb, and you can Google it right now to look it up. It's called the Centennial bulb, and it's been burning for over 100 years. They've turned it off every once in a while. Now it's down to 4 watts. It's in it's in a firehouse in LA. It used to be in Chicago, I think. But that's the perfidious nature of these engineers back then. So some disturbing research. These are quotations that I took from a writer, Bernard London, who wrote an article called Ending the Depression Through Planned Obsolescence. This I found myself. People everywhere are today disobeying the law of obsolescence. They are using their old cars, their old tires, their old radios, their old clothing, much longer than statisticians had expected on the base of earlier experience. So what does that sound like he's saying? That he is distressed that people are holding on to their things longer. And he says, new products would constantly be pouring forth from the factories and marketplaces to take the place of the obsolete, and the wheels of industry would be kept going and employment regularized and assured for the masses. So his idea, and he wasn't the first one to have this, was to have more people, have industry shorten the life of things like cars, tires, light bulbs, vacuum cleaners. I don't know when the vacuum cleaner was discovered, but anything that was electrical. He was dismayed, and his idea was, hey, let's make things cheaply, but they'll be better, but they'll last less time. So in planned obsolescence, companies who plan to make things obsolete, the first step is demand and distribution, right? So what these companies do is they create a need. You gotta have this, right? I have that little truck there that was bouncing around. It says, you need a biscuit. That is an actual company, and that's a picture of an old ad. You need a biscuit. And they had another one called You Want a Biscuit. And they made a big push that here, because people couldn't afford bread, and it was something that was fast and quick, and they kept them in barrels in the small grocery stores locally, right? But then it was also a question of get it out there. How are we going to get it out there? How are we going to distribute it? Which is why I have that there. But also, if you look, what's that picture there to the right? That's an iPod. But does anybody have that iPod? Anyone? Who had that iPod? Show of hands. Anybody?
I
Yeah,
never owned an iPod.
you never owned a. Wow. I feel old. Well, that was the original iPod with the little wheel, right? And when that came out, oh my God, and it could hold 1,500 songs, right? Who saw the movie about the Apple, where he says, yeah, hey, you got music in the pocket, 1,500 songs, but we're gonna improve upon that. He knew that he was gonna increase that. How many times do we change our phones? And it's crazy. So we change our phones a lot, we change our computers. You need a biscuit. I need a break. You need a break from all this pollution. Okay, let's move on. The second step, I call it new and shiny syndrome. So the earliest phase of product obsolescence then is called technological obsolescence, or obsolescence due to technological innovation, which is why I brought up the iPod. It ties in with the idea of psychological obsolescence because we want to have something new. Oh, it's better than the last, but we want it sooner than is actually necessary. Okay, that happens more times than I can think. What can we think of right now before we move on? What things changed from thing to thing, an everyday thing that we loved to use in our everyday lives, and it morphed and it delivered something to us? What morphed that you can think of that, oh, we got this first, and then we're getting this thing, and then we get the next generation? Anybody? I gotta see everybody. You can, please feel free to unmute.
Yeah, I see this with particularly with cars.
Cars, right.
Just yeah, people just want the bigger and better car, even if the one they're driving still has a lot of life.
Right, or the smaller car. That's an he said phone, right? So we had in our lives, phones were gigantic, right? With the big, oh my gosh, I have an old phone from the 1940s with a handle. I used to have not that one, but I had one of the rotary phones when I was growing up. And we go to the next phone, the next phone, the next phone, but what else? How about the radio and the record player, the stereo? The stereo went to the 8-track, the 8-track went to tapes, tape deck, tape deck went to CD, and then CD went into, the iPod. It's crazy. And I know people hung on to their stereo systems, and now we're going back to that. So don't get rid of it. Keep it. Because God knows we're probably going to go back to some old stuff. What is it that Apple does that at some point makes it almost impossible to not get the next new thing? Do we know? What is it that Apple does?
Well, isn't it something in the operating systems?
That's right. The
Yeah.
operating systems. One of the reasons why I'm not on the big, nice computer in my sunroom, and you're seeing the scary window behind me, because I'm not sure that I can update Zoom on that computer. And I've had that a long time, this big, nice desktop, but I can no longer update it. So yeah, with iPods, with phones, at some point, the operating system fails because you need something to access something else. They're very slick about it. It's really terrible. So let's talk about death dating. I love this, death dating. So it involves death dating has to do with creating a product and making sure that the pieces you use for that product hits a goal, and the goal is the expiration date. They can actually engineer a thing so this part will fail, that part will fail, the next thing will fail, and you can make sure that the manufacturers have set an end date to the products we purchase. They do it with clothing. It's incredible. So this quotation is from Kroll Prentice, who was an electrical engineer, I believe. And this shows up in a magazine called True Product. something like that. But you can look him up. He's on the internet, 1958. Our whole economy is based on planned obsolescence, and everyone who can read without moving his lips should know it by now. We make good products, we induce people to buy them. Then next year, we deliberately introduce something that will make those products old-fashioned, out of date, obsolete. We do that for the soundest reason, to make money. I kept reading that over and over again, hoping that, is he being sarcastic or like sardonic? I don't know. I don't think he is. But imagine being the scientist who pulls things together. So, well, if you use that, that won't last. That piece won't last beyond 2 years, and that piece isn't going to last very much. So it's like our boiler systems. No, they shouldn't last more than 10 years. I actually heard that from an should I say their name? A gas and oil company here in Yonkers. Several of them say the same thing, and they're like, yeah, you need a new boiler system. Truth is, it's been running a long time. I probably do. It's inefficient. It's not working at top efficiency. But to charge somebody $25,000 to put in a new heating system, that's a bit much. Let's move on. So what is repair revolution? And so it's something that that should have said repair cafe. Sorry about that over there. That's a misprint. So Repair Cafe brings a community together for mutual benefit. It's so you bring a need to the experts and everybody benefits because things get fixed and people learn. You learn how to fix your own things. So how does it work? So you bring your broken item, one or two things to the library. You check in at the welcome table. You are paired with an expert or a technician. You observe the simple repair process. You go home and feel empowered and then wait for the next repair cafe because we will have another repair cafe. I'm going to stop sharing and it's just us. So that's the basic gist. And I wanted to give you some brief history. So how about we open this up to any of you who have questions or thoughts or issues you're having with some of your items and what you hope to get out of coming to the Repair Cafe. And it could be anything. I mean, I see Nola here, and I bet you, Nola, you've had quite a few broken toys, and quite a few broken objects. I would imagine some of you have had vacuum cleaners that didn't last very long. Would you like to talk about that? Or your frustrations with things that break and you're like, I just got that 2 years ago, 3 years ago. What happened? What went wrong? And it could be anything, because remember, a friend of mine bought cabinets for their kitchen. My kitchen's that way. And when she went to, they installed them. On the install, the door fell. And because it wasn't screwed in to, it wasn't screwed in properly. And that wasn't, they came like prefabbed. And those are the worst things. I mean, how many of you you've purchased furniture and it's like a cheap rickety thing, but that kind of stuff, boy, that just, oh, I'm gonna get this little cabinet, and it's made out of plywood or it's made out of compress, and the second you drill into it, it makes a hole right through the other side. That is an easy win for these companies. So I leave it to you. What has been your experience that has frustrated you? And what would you hope to get out of bringing your things to our cafe? And we are serving coffee. It's not a cafe without the coffee. Well, I'll go on if nobody has anything.
Hi, can I say something?
Sure, please.
I guess I'll show my face.
Go
My
ahead.
name's Elvira. I joined late. I'm sorry. I was actually at the Crestwood Library and then ran into someone and we talked and got
Yeah.
myself
So
late.
what is it that you would hope, or what was, name one appliance, anything, it could be a lamp, a watch, jewelry, that you were just so frustrated because it broke before you knew it shouldn't have?
Well, I have some jewelry that's just knotted so badly that I can't wear it. It's not necessarily broken, and I probably will broken if I try to unknot it.
Is it because it's thin?
Yeah,
Is it very
very
thin?
thin.
That
You
right
can't-
there.
You can't do
And they
anything about it. Right.
they sell it for a lot of money. Actually, you can bring that to our cafe. The thing that we do with your objects is that you come in, you bring one or two things. It could be a bike, because we have a bike technician coming from Jen's Bikes on near Central, actually, in Tanglewood. Because I felt that I tried to get as many local people as possible so that they could help with our community. And I'm not discounting anybody outside of this community. This is open to everybody. But it's not a drop-off event. It's not this kind of thing where you come and here, quick fix my stuff. It's a moment for the technician to bring their expertise to the community member and show them how to make a simple repair. It doesn't mean that you're going to have to make this repair on your own. You can always ask advice. You can always come because I do want to have another event after this, because I think this kind of thing is necessary. It's not
Right.
sustainable to the community if we are spending thousands of dollars on our products, these products that we buy, tables and vacuum cleaners and lamps, watches, refrigerators, ovens. Ovens are the worst. They are the worst. It's either you say, well, I don't want to sacrifice quality. So you go out, what are the big names? Bosch, right? Bosch is one of the big names, LG, and you pray to God, well, if you do that sort of thing, you say to yourself, well, I'm spending a lot of money, so that should mean that I'm going to have this thing for a very long time.
Right.
So we're and the fact is now you're spending money on a high-end thing and it breaks down within 5 years anyway, or there's a problem, and part of what you have to do is spend $200 to $500 getting it repaired. Would anybody else like to share?
I have one other thing to share.
Sure.
I have like two cashmere sweaters. They're old. I didn't buy them new, and they have little rips in them. I don't know what's the best type of thread to use, how to do it. Is there anything special to do with it? I'd like to bring them.
Well, you bring them.
And maybe another button or something that the fabric on it's a fabric button and the fabric is off, so I got to somehow weave the fabric back on to cover the button.
I watched one of the part-time clerks, Natalie, she's on this. I watched her repair a hole in her sweater the other day
Okay, so is she going to be at the clinic? Is she?
No, there's going to be another person. I have a seamstress coming, and
Okay.
hopefully if it works out. She said yes, she would come. And she will be there to make some repairs, buttonholes and holes. But the thing is, there's no guarantee that what you bring in, we could definitely repair. They assess it, you check in at the table, they assess your object and then, your product, whatever it is, and they say, well, this is going to be more extensive and I can't do this here. I would have to then take it to my shop and it will cost some money, or they can repair it there and they'll show you what to do. Or they don't, probably if you're going to bring it, it might be helpful if you get some cashmere, a little bit of cashmere thread.
Well, I don't know. I didn't even look into it yet to see if there is cashmere thread. I was gonna go to Joann's and ask them to tell me what type of thread
you
to
go.
bring and maybe
But
even bring it
see,
there.
that's a sustainable thing to do. You go there and you check out what's out there. Find out what's there.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there anybody else?
Me.
Nola,
So I have this chair here that's broken because of this part, and it won't go in anymore.
it won't go in anymore. Do you
Yeah.
know that could be easily fixed? Especially if that's something that it's a piece of furniture. It's as long as it's not shredded into bits. That's I'd say that I have a carpenter, but I might not, maybe this time around, but we might be able to do something for you.
There you go.
But this is exactly why I wanted to do this kind of thing, so that you could learn how to do this yourself. One of the other technicians I'm bringing in, with any luck, can fix drift in switch controllers. Nova, when you have a switch controller, do you have?
Yeah, my brother broke like 5 of them.
And how much do they cost?
Like 100 something.
Well, I know, the controllers are like, I thought they were $75, $85. It depends if it's a fancy pantsy one, or if you get a bunch of them. But getting the switch controllers fixed, that's expensive.
So we just bought new ones, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's my son will be the tech there that day. And again, hopefully we have we have a month and a half to go. So with any luck, he will definitely be there. But he said, I learned how to do it by having like going on YouTube and looking to see how to fix a switch. They show you what to do. But it's something like that I think, because you end up spending so much money on getting your switch controller fixed. And God forbid if it's a switch that broke, because then they say, well, the switch is broken, you're just gonna have to get the new one.
And those are like expensive.
You what?
Because they're like expensive.
They're expensive. They're expensive. Very expensive to fix. They're expensive to buy. How much was the switch? They're like $500, $600, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very expensive. And how many times have they made new switches?
A lot.
A lot. They've made a lot of changes. They've upgraded them. Has anybody else any stories they want to share about some of the objects, some of the products they've purchased that they just were tearing their hair out about? I mean, I had a story about my washing machine. Yeah, Liz. Do I have to unmute you?
So I was dying to have my 3D printer for Christmas, and I finally got it.
Yeah.
Do I have to say if it broke or not? Because it's
Well,
still
no. No. My question is, did your 3D printer break?
No,
Oh, no. Well, that's good. That's good.
I
I don't
haven't
know.
printed it yet,
Well,
anything
yeah.
yet, because my mom needs to get to the computer part, and I'm dying to print my first
Well,
thing.
those things break easily. You have to be careful with those. Like the 3D printer we have
Yeah,
in
I'm
the,
right, like in front of it. I'm at the
yes,
table, like right.
yes,
Yeah.
right. Now that is already an older model. That's a perfect example of,
Something like a break.
and break easily and go out of fashion, so to speak. But we're not gonna be, we're not gonna be repairing those. We will hopefully, we will, we'll be doing the switch controllers,
All
you
right.
know?
I
I
actually
mean,
have a Switch though.
is
Two
it,
actually.
is it
And
broken? Does it, but wait,
they
here,
all they were one of them was almost broken. It was mine since my brother Mikey. Well, he's right here, so I don't want him to hear me. But he broke. He almost broke mine and Josh's.
yeah, but isn't it crazy how delicate those things are? And how many of you have drift with your, like when you're not,
Drift? What's drift?
drift is when you're not touching your controller and your character in the game moves without you touching the controller. That's called drift.
I
And that,
think maybe I think it was because of like animals moving in Minecraft that I play. That could
right,
be it. Could that
right.
be an example?
That's an example of drift.
And I think
Um,
another example is like the controller switch on the ground thing, which like it just so the thing just oh yeah.
right.
And so then they like the like things that you use to move your character, the like springy thingies, like they begin to tilt and your character begins to move. That's what I think
Right,
that's another
right.
example.
And that's one of the things that we can fix. But how horrible is it that you pay, it's probably, I think the controllers for two in a box are anywhere from 75 to $85, right? They're expensive, the controllers. So,
There's
I
Mikey.
be careful with your Switch controllers. They're easy to
What are you
break.
talking?
So does anybody else have anything else they want to share about a frustrating, a frustrating break? I know I know one of the things that I was upset about was how quickly I bought a laptop and the laptop just within 2 or 3 years, it's already been a problem. So does anybody else have anything, another, does anybody else have any other appliances? I do want to tell you one thing, though. The people who started Repair Cafe, they started it with, they started it with, in 2009, a woman in Amsterdam started this thing called Repair Cafes. And in America, a John Wackman started it in, I think, 2013, and he wrote a book, he co-wrote a book called Repair Revolution. And we have the book at the Crestwood Library, and it talks about the success of repair cafes. So what's going to happen, because I'm going to wrap this up, we're just about done. What's going to happen is, as we get closer to April 27th, we're going to remind everybody to be there at our library. It starts at 10 o'clock, and we will have the tables out. Hopefully no rain. If we have rain, we'll bring it inside. And you'll bring your products that you're having a problem with. And and you're going to be registered at a table, and then you'll be paired with an expert. And then you'll sit there and observe. So please make sure you have your thinking caps on and you're watching. Yes, Nola? You have a
What
question?
the repair cafe be on?
April 27th. Don't worry, we're gonna remind everybody, but everybody gets a turn. We ask that you bring a few items, not move your entire house over, but before you come, we will let everybody know what technicians will be there. We will definitely have the bike technician. And
Okay.
why that's nice is, I believe Bike Sunday starts either that Sunday or the
Right,
following
right.
starts in May.
Yeah.
So
I
if you
will-
wanna get some good advice about your bike, bring your bike to the cafe.
Mm.
Yes, so someone is asking, wants to speak, yes.
So is it is the cafe thing like AM or PM?
Starts in the AM and then it goes till 2 o'clock,
All right.
okay?
Jackie,
Could probably make that. Wait, when does it end?
It ends at 2 o'clock, so it starts at 10 and it ends at 2. It's on the 27th. It's on a
Okay.
Saturday. We're gonna be right
Okay,
across
then
the
I'll
street from.
definitely make it. I'll definitely make it if it's
Definitely make it.
yeah.
Definitely.
Because my school ends at
Jackie, can I ask you something?
Sure.
This is Elvira. Or would any of these experts be willing to, if I'm thinking of something I need this minor alteration on a dress. I'd be willing to pay the person to do.
Well,
Are they into
that's,
fixing or alterations?
no, but it's small repairs. It's not altering the dress. It is like if there's a hole or a button
All right,
or, an
right. But you
edging,
said
but
she
you
wasn't
can
seamstress. Maybe
speak
she
to
can
them.
recommend me to someone,
She could
or I could
recommend you.
pay her
That's,
to do it.
yes, that's what's great about the cafe, because it puts you in touch with the experts.
Right,
And
and
you
they know
can,
experts.
right.
Either they can have a little side business from it, or they could
Well,
recommend
they're
me
going
someone.
to advertise. So what's really great is the seamstress who's coming makes cosplay costumes. I mean, she's really very, very talented. So
Is she
she's,
local? Is she local?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure where she lives. So I don't think she's in Crestwood. We don't
Uh-huh.
ask. I can't give out that information, but we, with any luck, we'll have a whole host of people. We may even get the appliance guy at Cornell's True Value. So
They
they're
don't
gonna
sell
come in.
appliances. What do you mean? They have grills. What do you mean? They don't sell refrigerators or freezers.
No, but they have appliance experts there. They have two guys who will talk about how to convert. One of the things that they're expert in is converting the old wiring in a house where you have a light bulb. They show how to do an easy socket conversion. So it's pretty cool, but they show you how to do it. They don't do it, they don't go to your house to do that.
I love
Um,
that place. That place is great, especially with the new
they've been
manager.
around since the early 1900s. They provided the first key and the first cleaning products to the library back in 1926. So, okay, if there are no other questions, please avail yourself of the cafe, and we'll have this recording on YouTube, and we will talk about it. Yes, Z is reminding everybody, Bicycle Sunday starts on May 5th. That's what's great. No, 10, it's 10 to 2, not 10 to noon. It's 10 to 2. Our repair cafe is April 27th, 10 to 2. Same times, but we're on a Saturday. We're not on a Sunday. But I like the fact that we're getting your bikes conditioned to get ready for Bike Sunday. So please join us It should be a very good program, and tell your friends about it and things like that. Z, would you like to make any closing?
Closing remarks, yes.
closing
I want to say that this is an exciting time because these are all skills that we can be using in other areas of our life, whether it's our work life, our personal lives, helping out friends and helping out the planet. So it's really important, you know, to learn how to help yourself and all these classic skills. We used to have wood shop when I was growing up. We used to have home ec and do sewing
Oh
and
my God, I
budgeting
missed that.
and
Yeah,
tinkering around with things. So think about Repair Cafe as your playground to experiment and learn. So I want to
right.
thank Jackie as part of her library schoolwork. Jackie's studying to be a librarian, so we're really happy about that. And part of her learning, she is sharing with us through Repair Cafe because she's doing a lot of investigating into sustainable models of being for both businesses and homes. So we're really excited to have this partnership. We invite you all to come. And thanks, Jackie. Thanks everyone who's been on the Zoom. It's been wonderful. I hope you have a great evening.
Well, and also I will be providing information about planned obsolescence. I have articles, we have books at the library. Please come and take them out. So if nobody has any other questions, you can contact me anytime at the library, and we can talk about any questions you have about what we're going to do for the Repair Cafe. Have a good night, everybody.
Be well, stay well till we meet again.